Either stand behind the table or take a seat. Celebrate Mum. Mum, thanks for First results going to be Nanda, our 1990 Miss Australia contestant. And she's going to share maybe a bit of light in the early years of time. Thanks, Nanda. Oh, hang on, Hamish, by the way.
Okay, my name's Nanda. Probably a lot of you don't know me, but I do know a few people do. Louise and I met many years ago when we were both really naive country girls. We decided we'd enter the Miss Australia quest. I came from Collarenga and Louise came from Narrabri. Tamworth. And we both decided that we would enter this and raise as much money as we could to help the Spastic Centre, which we did. We both won our money in the zone and we won a trip to Sniggenholm. And that was in 1975, in 73 in May. We'd never been out of the city, we'd never been out of the bush very much. Never seen the snow. Never seen the snow. So here we go, we all go down to Sniggins, and I've got some photos that I want someone to hand around of some beautiful pictures of Louise down in the snow. We had a wonderful time, Louise, didn't we? And you know, lots of laugh, and we had 3 chaperones that came with us, didn't we? And they were supposed to look after us, although they looked after themselves most of the time. They had all the young, we were very disgusted that they had all the young ski instructors and we had nobody. We learned to drink and maybe the bus had to be stopped a couple of times on the way. Oh no, I think it was on the way home. Anyhow, I just want to wish Louise a very happy 70th birthday and there's some nice pictures going around of you in my last picture.
Thanks, Amanda. Just watch the mic. Every word that you say, your table is now going to be recorded. Because you've got a mic still on you. No, feel free to have it. I'm sure you're happy that. It'll be an interesting listening later on. Okay. So Louise, my mum, Luma, to our kids, she's is and always has been, whatever we need, when we've needed it. Mum, there's not much you can ask for that Mum won't. Well, Mum will always say yes, right? Anything you ask for, Mum will say yes, underlined. So when I overestimated my skill and ended up having surgery, Mum was, the first surgery, would be taking me to follow-up appointments, making sure I got through my rehab, got back to, living my best life. So, she'd be there when anything happened, if it was doing something stupid, after having too many drinks, and I'd follow home, Mum would be there, giving me a cuddle, and always, keep us up, make us feel better. So, although, I've been called a bit of a mummy's boy, like Nanda, that she didn't really leave us with much of a choice. And so, Mum's an amazing mum, no surprise. But over the past 6 or so years, her father, Nick, and I have realised how high the benchmark has been set by Bundy. So, we're always going to be chasing. Thanks, Bundy. So, Mum's a great mum, but she is also, pretty cheeky. You see her with any of the kids, and she will stir them up. She'll get them excited. For your dad saying, "Don't do that before bed," settle it down. So, Mum is also so much fun to be around.
Sorry.
So as I said before, no matter what the request is, remember Mum to saying no. She's always keen to be a part of what's going on. And like a little while ago now, as a group of 20-year-old mates in a team of cults, we were trying to define binge drinking, and we had a 20-cent game where we'd be putting a coin in your drink, or we'd be trying to put a coin in your drink. If it was at the bottom of your drink, you had to scull your drink. And one of my clearest memories is Mum sculling every glass of the champagne during end of season presentation. So Mum's always came hardest to cut hardest part. But before any of that, my first memory is really, one of my first memories is of playing Rocky out here at Berrimah. And this was awesome, right? It was the first start of us getting involved in a team. It got us playing hockey, being part of a club, and then part of a community. So although we ended up leaving Berrimah, we started understanding that being part of a team and committing to your teammate training and game was a really big part of our lives, and could be a really important part of life. Mum also showed us that what sport and effort means. So in game, Mum's face would look like the really sweaty features. Like Mum, effort would never be questioned, but you'd go crazy. So thanks for always setting a pretty hard work to the depot. Then lastly, pony camp, and again, pretty early memory is me breaking my teeth in half, and we were a long way from home. We'd driven 8 hours out to Narrabri, and thanks to that, how much Mum is a part and remains a part of wherever she's been. She was able to find, or we were able to find through that community, a dentist on a Sunday over, they get me patched up, and then back into pony camp that next week. And for a week of being a filthy little grubby boy who at the end of the day, after having snapped off teeth, just needed Mum, she was always there. So thanks Mum, you literally are.
Sure, that's fair.
Transfer the stage, Shane. Yes, sir. So I'm going to tell the story of Mum in 3 parts. So Mum, the community member, taking off from where Hamish left off with Pony Jam. Then I'm going to go to Mum the Adventurer, and then Mum as Mum, and Grammy to Jack and Molly. And let's see if I can do this speech without Jack popping one of those balloons before I finish. That's the challenge. So part 1, Mum, the community member. From my earliest memories of Mum, I can always remember being involved in some sort of community, whether it be Meals on Wheels or hockey. But let's be honest, because I've been around the bush, Mum loves a chat, loves a gossip. So there's 2 parts in Mum's community organisation. It's wanting to give back to the community and also finding like-minded people that she can speak to. But none more so that I can think of that Hamish touched on is Narrabri Pony Club, and then of course the Barrel Bites. Every year we would make the trip up from Mossvale to Narrabri, and Hamish and I would be admitted to the Narrabri Pony Camps. At the start we would be left in tears. These city kids were left to sleep in cheap shearing sheds. With Mum's connections though, she'd somehow wrangled us 2 horses, saddles, bridles, cloths, everything that you needed to have a week away and have a week of adventure. The generosity and bond in that community is something that we rarely see anymore. Warwick would be there and be involved in the show jumping, and then we would see Mum just popping up like puffs of smoke. She'd be in the kitchen serving cheese as the kids came through for their lunches. Then next thing she'd be out in the field serving tea and biscuits to people as they needed their morning teas. But I will tell you one thing, if you want your kid to grow a tough skin and you're from the city, throw them in a Narrabri Pony Club and make them wear skin-coloured joggers for the whole week. While they're riding alongside farm tough guys in jeans, I'm sitting there in skin-coloured joggers going, my shape, my shape. At Dad's 70, we said Dad's second love was Argyle Engineering. I can safely say that isn't Mum's second love. However, there is no doubt that 30 odd years of service has seen some amazing highs and of course some lows. But in the end, it has provided an amazing life for us as a family. It's amazing though, considering that she does the books 30 years and she's never given a long service leave, it does make me question. But Mum's second true love is the building that we're standing in now, is the Barrel Blades. The club that I started playing up when I was 9 and Hamish, 8 or 9 and then Hamish 12. While Dad might have been a founding player for this club, over the past 30 years my mother has literally cemented herself into the footings of this building. While most parents get involved in rugby clubs while either their kids or their partner plays, her commitment to the club and her time spent here, I feel, has only increased since me and Hamish left. Her commitment and consistency over the years is a testament to the type of person she is and the strong bond she has, not only with the club itself, but the people that make this amazing club. It is what it is. Many of them here tonight. Part 2, Mum the Adventurer. I remember Mum telling me a story that she had all this money saved up in a car that she was going to sell, and she was going to go on this big trip travelling around alone around the world. And then she met Dad. Well, that solo trip might never have happened, but 47 years of marriage to Dad, you could definitely say she's lived a life of adventure. Together, the two of them have achieved amazing things. From trips overseas that saw you both navigating public transport in Italy in the late 80s with 2 toddlers and staying in pensiones, and then on the same trip going and staying in the George State, just to balance things out. That's like a laugh track, of course. But the adventure didn't stop. There was constant weekends away water skiing with Dad's extended family, with Uncle Michael, being out the Shoalhaven River, and it wasn't unheard of us to be stuck in the middle of the Shoalhaven River with nothing but a pair of water skis to paddle us to get back home. While Mum may not come across as the biggest extrovert in the room, that should not be taken as someone that is willing to take a step back or someone that isn't willing to have a crack at anything. From joining me on a canyon swim in Queenstown where she dropped 15 metres straight, where her screams couldn't even be heard, to so many memories of me looking out the back as an observer of Mum holding on to dear life as Dad swung Mum and whoever else was game into the biggest whip of their lives while holding on to a tube. But all you could see was Mum's hand and his face. And who can forget the gigs? My mother and I started our journey together going to gigs with me in your belly. You went and saw Elton John when I was in your belly, and from there it's only been up and up from there. There are of course the ones that you would expect. Mum and I going with Bruce Springsteen and John Mayer. Then there are the ones that set Mum apart. From Mum squeezing through sweaty chested men to try and get a good spot so she can see the butterfly effect or cog, or to my all-time favourite memory, I think of Mum standing inside the D-Barry at Big Day Out, 2 schooner glasses full of champagne, snuck in from the backstage, watching Neil Young screaming all that hunger out on them. Cool Mum badge awarded, extra merit given. Music has always been a special part of our journey together. I was a tender age of 19 when I informed my parents I was leaving TAFE and going on the road with a rock band for the next 6 weeks. Dad's reaction was to be expected. Mum asked to see the band and meet them. After meeting the guitarist from the band, who had become one of my best mates, she hugged me and said, the two of you will have a lot of fun together. Then she hugged me again and just sent me on my adventure for me to create my own path. Part 3, my mum, and then Grammy to our kids, Jack and Molly. A value that Mum and Dad instilled in both Hamish and I was the value of hard work. While Argyle Engineering was always seen as Dad's business, this doesn't mean it would be here without the tireless efforts of Mum over the years. No matter what aspect of Mum's personal or professional life, she gets involved and always gets in and just does whatever needs to be done to get the job done. But if there is one job where the job I don't think is ever really done, it's being a parent. Mum has always been there to support me, whether it be mending broken bones or a teenage heart. Her gentleness and care was always at the forefront. A key value that Mum has imparted in me from a young age is that no life is perfect. Even the people that seem to have it all can be having their own struggles. Life has its ups and downs, and it's important to remember that all things will pass, and that change is the only constant. The important part is to keep showing up and be present. I would be remiss if I didn't touch my mum's mum quickly. Noah to me is an attaboy. And you may be aware of the similarities between you, but I want to point them out to you. In our own family home growing up, there was one thing you could set your watch to. That was my name calling at 6 o'clock every single night. Some days Mum and Dad would talk for 30 seconds because dinner was on the table and we had things to do. Other days, Mum got into a discussion, and if you can imagine two mums talking, it went on, and on, and on. Your mother was the same as you. She was there, she was present, and she was consistent. The love you felt from your mother, I know Hamish and I get as well. And I know you definitely can't set your watch to when we will talk, but most days that we do, our connection and friendship is something that I truly cherish and would be lost without. They say the bedrock of a child's confidence comes from unconditional love. And I'm not sure if any of you remember me, but it could definitely be saying I was loved unconditionally as a teenager. Anna and I are lucky to have two kids of our own, and we're constantly questioning what we're doing as parents and trying to figure out how to do it. One thing that is routinely said is that what you say to your children becomes their inner voice when they become an adult. And this is where I have to say thank you, Mum. Your unquestioning support, love and guidance, presence, hugs has provided me with an inner voice that in the toughest moments in my life, I have a voice that says, you can do this, you'll be fine, it'll all be fine. So, can anyone really ask for anything else than that?
So Louise grew up in Ballada, which is near Narrabri, and she did homeschooling there, and then went on to Kalrossi in Tamworth. So Louise really, the years at Kalrossi, she didn't really enjoy that much, so in the end she was quite happy to walk out of the place. But they liked Tamworth. During that same time is that they sold their property in Narrabri and they moved to Tamworth. And Louise then had to join the workforce. I think the first one was in a salary for just a month or two, but then came where she was able to get a job at United Permanent Building Society. And so Louise always, no matter like the previous said, that Louise goes in full steam ahead, and she did really well at United Permanent. She had long-term workmates from even United Permanent. Once with United Permanent, Louise then went on to Dalgetty's. She then worked at Bower Brickworks. She's worked for an NDIS service provider, and she's working at Argyle and also Button Associates. And all these things is that she has been able to adapt to. So, like with the NDIS, it amazed me that the task that she had was sends Joe Blow out to look after someone, but when they're finished there, they then got to go after another player's another one. Well, Louise, and there was, I think, easy 20 or 30 these people would be sent out. Well, Louise would have to, I don't think it was Waze, but they'd have to Google up as to the distance each person went each time. And she'd have to work out what the rate was that they would get paid. So it was a really huge job she did. But, Alpha did the same thing that at Barrel Bricks, that she was did the account, definitely was carrying bricks. But one of the really good ones was Louise really enjoyed at Dalgetics because it was getting back with the farming community. As already said, Louise went in the Miss Australia quest. Now, with that quest, they had to raise money and they would go to the hotels to have their trip rate. And Louise did this. Now, following on from this, I think maybe a girlfriend of mine decided to go to the Tamworth Workers Club. And that's where Louise and I met. So, so it's already been mentioned about boys with sport, but I think one thing that needs to be pointed out is that I never realised that, if you're left-handed, well, if you're a hockey player, well, bad luck. You've got to be a righty player or forget it. So Louise changed to being a right-handed player, and she was very good. I remember we went to World Cup at Armidale for a competition or whatever, and I think she was representing Tamworth in that. So she was very good in her sporting with the hockey. And now I've nearly had my 3 minutes, so I'll just go to wrap it up. Louise has been a real mother, husband. Sorry. And who's a grandmother who is incredibly loyal to family and friends, and I'm sure we can all attest to that. And I'd just like to say to Louise, it is that, and anyone who says that married life just goes along and you're all lovey-dovey, well, I mean, that's all bullshit. We've had our ups and downs. I think when you're in business, it gives a huge amount of stress, especially when things are hard. And going back 20 years ago, we went overseas, and it was fantastic. And we did stay at the George Sank and whatever, but I'm making up for it now. I'm getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and doing whatever. But we've had a fantastic time, and Louise, thank you for being my partner. Let's back to Lamb and we're trying to do
So this is my indulgence. I'm sorry. You've got to put up with this tonight, I'm sorry. And it's mainly about my family, and I will get emotional. So just bear with me. One night when I was writing this, though, I must admit, Alan came and asked me what I was doing. I replied, I'm writing my speech. His reply, remember, only 5 minutes. My reply, it's my party. And remember how long you've spoken at your party. And I think most of us know Alan loves to make a speech. There's a table over there, and I'm sure many rugby games have heard Alan speak. A night of thank yous with maybe a tear or two, but it's my birthday. My first thank you is to Mark. Mark Bruin. I don't know where he's gone. I think he's hiding in the kitchen. Mark, get out here. When Mum was in her last part of living with us, we were in Narrabri for quite a while, and we came home and we drove into home, and it sounds really small, but our lawn was small. And I just drove in and I just thought it was just the best gift to come in and see our yard like that. And Mark would never remember it, I'm sure. And it was just meant the world to me. So a very late thank you to Mark. And this is my mother and dad. Warwick and I had a lovely life growing up at Fontana and Narrabri. The experiences of freedom of growing up there are precious and remembered. It's a loving environment. For many years, Mum and Dad thought they would not have children, but they eventually had Warwick, and 7.5 years later, me. Warwick, I'm sure he thought his other little sister. But let me tell you, he tormented me. And I'm sure that's where I'm the one wrong there. It's a bit of a hand joke, I'm sorry. I can only reflect on the hard journey for them, and all I can say I was blessed and always felt very loved, and they will always mean the world to me. I only wish I had my dad for longer. So many questions and life experiences I would like to ask him. But thankfully I had my mum, Nana Morty, for a good and great time we had. Her love was always unwavering and something I will always cherish. We always loved a good laugh together. This loving and undying affection she had for Alan, and then especially for Hamish Chandru. She loved seeing them, hearing about their exploits. They could do no wrong. She was so proud of them. I would so love for her to see these gorgeous grandchildren we have. I know she would be happy for Alan and I to have these extensions to our lives, and I miss her every day. Next, after Alan had a game of rugby with Walcott whilst playing for Darabut, he fortuitously, to him, he stopped at Tamworth. It was with a few blokes, one of them being Bevan Benson, so her cousin down the hill, remember Bevan Benson? He was at Barra and I was at Kelrossi. Alan and I had a dance, and I must have made a great impression that the only thing he remembered was where I worked. He remembered my name, but he remembered where I worked. I was blonde to you. Yeah, I was. So anyway, he called a couple of days later to ask me out. Very quickly, and only a few months later, we were engaged. Very secure eyebrows. With that on a very special day on the 12th of February 1977, we were married. But all the better, here we are, and thank you, Alan. Yeah. 12 months later, we moved together. It's Alan's hometown, and 12 months later, Alan fulfilled his greatest dream, and that was always to have his own business, which has always remained his passion and gives him great fulfillment. My next greatest joy was the 9th of March 1983, when Alan Hamish was born, and then on the 11th of January 87, when Andrew Charles was born. And as all mums know, that overwhelming feel of love. So those fluctuations in your arm. I've never seen that again. Trips overseas, Los Angeles, Disneyland, New York, London, Stratford, Yorkshire, Rome, Milan, Amsterdam, Singapore, New Zealand and Fiji, where Andrew had his first alcoholic drink of Calgary and Fiji. Water skiing, wakeboarding, on the tube, what great times we had on those days, getting to know the boys' mates, partying at Grady's. And I feel as parents we were not always seeing the best example. Snow skiing and snowboarding. Alan, I think, was the most memorable falls, and me laughing way too much at his falls, which he didn't appreciate. Then where do I get up to? Way too much. Okay, so this is a verse for Hamish and Andrew. You've got to indulge me here a bit, because these are some readings that I've had. One day, while brushing their hair, our little boy's eyes were wiping food off sticky fingers. They looked up and gave me a smile that lights you up from the inside out. Hey, this to your left. It doesn't get any better than this, but it does. Because they grow up to become good men and good friends, and their smiles still light up in the world. And this is something that I read at Anna and Andrew's wedding, Sons. I closed my eyes for a moment, and suddenly a man stood where a boy used to be. I may not carry you in my arms, but I will always carry you in my heart. You have given me so many reasons to be proud of the men you have become. The proudest moment for me is telling others that you are my sons.
Agreed.
Hamish was leaving home to join the Air Force at 18 to qualify in our tech. It was one of a pride for me going forward and him making his life, but for a mum, certainly tinged with sadness to see him going so young. First to Adelaide, then to Wagga, and finally to Newcastle. Andrew stayed around off and on for a few years, touring with bands, which filled me with terror, I can tell you for a little bit, but anyway. We had good mates on those bands who looked after this young 19-year-old, saving his money and going overseas for 9 months on a trip around the world, returning to know his direction in life, going to university and passing with great marks, then moving to Brisbane to start working. For both of them, I always marvel at their great results with their studies. And brains, they didn't get from me, I can tell you. Not me. So, then we go on to, before rugby, the boys and I played hockey with Berrimah, which we always enjoyed those days. Then on to rugby, starting with barrel rugby in 1996 with Andrew 9 years old in the under-11s and Hamish in the under-13s. The same year Hamish started to play with Chev also, so from then on, winter weekends comprised of Saturday rugby with Chev and Sunday with the Blacks. Until 2005 when Andrew finished with a year in the Colts. Lots of travelling every weekend, but always enjoyed. We then followed Hamish with Wagga Waratahs and then on to Newcastle Hamilton Hawks. All the while, Alan and I have always been included in their lives. And one thing I want to remember is it's not what you become, but who you become. So next, Hamish meeting Nikki in Newcastle and all married years ago. Then Andrew meeting Anna in Brisbane, and they moved to Sydney where they married over 7 years ago, and before long they were back in Brisbane. With those wonderful women came into their lives, the most amazing daughter-in-laws into my life. I'm so lucky to have them. I'm so proud of their careers and being beautiful mothers and women, and their careers, I'm always filled with what they do. The addition of them to our family has made us all the richer. Nikki and Anna, the love, respect, affection and inclusiveness you have shown me fills my heart, and I always love your company and so blessed to have you in our lives. Another added bonus is Anna and Nikki's families, Wendy and Mick, Joe Pete, Lynn and Paul. And I'm lucky that Wendy and Mick and Joe and Pete are here tonight, which I thank you, which is lovely to have. The extended family. So then we have grandchildren. Hamish and Mick had the first grandchild, gorgeous Claire, now 8. Then we welcomed Aidan, now 5, and Anna and Andrew had a caring, adventurous Jack, now 4, and no fear, chatting Molly. What can I say about your grandchildren? They are just the most gorgeous addition to our lives. Only downside is we don't get to spend enough time with them, but they are just the most beautiful treasures that fill your heart in a special way, and those cuddles are the best. This is to Claire, Aidan, Jack and Molly. This little verse, when you were born, I held you close, was what I dreamed of most. I touched your tiny fingers and toes, I kissed your head, your cheek and your nose. My heart is as happy as can be. I wish for you the sun and the moon, and I wish for you to be happy and always know that you have Lumar Grammy is always near and always do anything for you. I am forever so proud of the family units they have and continue to build. They have wonderful partnerships and they are all the most amazing parents. I'd just like to add a little bit about Barrel Rugby Club. It's been a part of my life since 1998. Without my friends, especially when we have no family around, who are all very special. I thank you all for the fun and the laughs and the great conversations we have. Now all that is left is to have plenty more laughs, conversations, and hopefully a dance or two and a drink. Thank you all.
Just on the housekeeping is that there's just two things. The first thing is that from 10 o'clock through to 12 o'clock there's a minibus that will it'll go either to Bowral and then it'll come back and then it'll go to Moss Vale. So make sure you use it, that's paid for. And the after party is here again tomorrow at 11:30. All right, thank you all.
Bye.